Alright guys, so this is going to be a pod review for the Aji Penec Yellow. Now, I did a video last year, I believe it was last year or the year before, I did a video on this particular variety of pepper, and this pepper is not supposed to be yellow, so somewhere along the line, and it's not because I cross it or I'm growing my plants too close together. It actually came out of the package that way. So some of the genetics of the seed eventually started to separate down the road. So out of that separating genetics of those seeds, one of these came out of it. And as you can see, it's a yellow version of the regular version of Penec, which I believe the Aji Penec was a pepper lover's creation. It's actually one of their original varieties. So it's something to do with something on their end. It probably wasn't fully stable, and now the plant is unwinding. And it will do that. It'll throw out some different colors. It'll throw out some different shapes. And this is one of the shapes and colors that you can see with this pepper. So I figured I'd grow it again and see if it comes true, and this is the second year it's coming true, from seed anyway. I mean, if I winter it over, yeah, it's going to come out yellow every time if I winter it over, but growing it fresh from seed again and I got peppers from it, it's coming out true yellow like it should be. So that's a good sign that this may eventually stabilize. I'll give it time. As you can see, some of the versions of it have a point on it, and some of the other versions got the fish lips, the typical fish lips that the Penec should have. So they're carrying different traits that are slightly still developing, and I'm sure within 10 years or so of trying to stabilize this variety, I'm sure eventually it'll, you know, again, when you're stabilizing these kind of peppers, I have to pick all the peppers with the shape that I want to continue with and isolate them. So, like for example, this one has point on it. I'm going to keep those seeds, but I'm going to separate them and write Aji Penec Yellow pointed tip. And with this one, I would call it Aji Penec Yellow fish lips or something like that. You know, just so I know the difference. But I don't combine all of the phenotypes together because I do want to keep them separate in the event that they start to separate again. Some of these varieties may not separate, they might stay around. So you really want to separate them when you're going through this phenotype measure, when you're trying to actually get these strains to stabilize a little better. So the Aji Penec is generally a smooth stem. There might be a little raspiness on it. There's a little bumps and raspiness on the stem, but it's not hairy though. It's a regular leaf pepper, though you can't really tell, but it's generally a regular leaf. That's just my way of describing and identifying this plant. And I don't have any flowers on it, unfortunately. We're too late in the season. As you can see, the plants, all the leaves are starting to turn yellow because it's getting ready to drop all its leaves and winter over. Now, even though it drops all its leaves, this plant will stay alive all winter. As long as if you keep a part of it alive with light on it, the whole plant will live, and then when you bring it out, it'll bump. So a lot of times what I would do with a plant like this is I just cut them halfway, just take the whole tops off them, and while it's still warm out, while it's still summer, take the tops off it, you know, maybe leave up about 10 inches, boom, cut it, and let the bottom put out shoots so it becomes more bushy and low growing, and it's easier to bring in and winter over. So that's a good way to do it. I just don't have time for it this year. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to keep all these plants because the house is for sale, and if the house sells, I got to move all this stuff, and I don't know where I'm going to move it to. I have no idea where I could actually move all my pepper plants. So the leaf, the stem, there's no purpling in it. There's a little bit of purpling, I believe, at some of the nodes. Occasionally, you get a little bit of it. In fact, this one has absolutely no purpling in it. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, there's no purpling in this at all. The whole plant is just green. There might be a slight bit of purple here, but again, that could be because of sunlight and things like that. So that does cause some of it, but it's generally a green stem, smooth. We got one that's ready, so I figured let me jump on this one now while we still got decent weather out here in the greenhouse. And there we go. Aji Penec Yellow, second generation. This is already an F2, so it's been around a bit. It's surviving. It is coming true. It is coming yellow. As you can see, it's a flat pepper. Okay, it's wide here. It's flat. It doesn't have the fish lips, but it does have a blunt nose. So if enough of these come out, you probably will see the fish lips on them. And it kind of does look like a fish a little bit if you look at it, right? Now, I don't remember if this had heat on it or what. I'm a big fan of the Aji Penec in general. The Penec is a very good tasting pepper. I do believe there's a little heat on it, but it's really low. And the yellow version, I don't remember. I did a taste test on it last year. Let's get one or two good camera angles on this so you can see what it looks like on both sides, and then we'll turn you around. Alright guys, here we go. We're doing another pod review with the Aji Penec Yellow. Now this is a version that I didn't anticipate on coming true. Sometimes it comes true, but more often than not, most of the crosses you get from peppers will either resort back to the mother or the donor, but most of the time back to the mother, and you really never end up with anything. It's a lot of work to really stabilize any kind of cross variety or cross strains. And unfortunately, in most cases that I do get crosses, I even give them like a designation name, an HR designation name, just so I have a way of knowing what it is. Most of them never really come true, or I just give up on them. It's a lot of work. You got to pick off the peppers and phenotype them, and you got to pick all the different ones, and it's a lot of work. It's not something that I look forward to doing, but because I love growing peppers so much, I do it anyway from time to time. But this is one of the ones I decided to keep. It was already split. And the Aji Penec in general is a red pepper. It's very sweet, has a little bit of heat on it. And the yellow one, I don't remember. I did do a review on it last year. It was an F1. And this is now an F2. So I'm not sure if it's going to stay true with heat or hotter or less hot. I have no idea. But nevertheless, here it is. With no further ado, let's get into it. There's heat on this one. There's some heat. Right out the gate, it was a little tangy, but most of my peppers this year were really tangy. I'm not sure what's going on with that. A little tangy. Had a very fruity flavor to it. Not habanero fruity, but like hard to explain. There's a certain Aji Penec fruitiness flavor that floats around out there. It's one of those kind of peppers. It's not exactly habanero fruity. I don't know. You could even kind of go with maybe a little bit appley, maybe in that range. But it doesn't taste exactly like an apple. But I say appley because I'm trying to find a fruit that kind of might fit that profile and flavor. Not necessarily sweetness, but the profile and flavor. Kind of like in that direction a little bit. It was a little tangy, almost a little bit citrusy, believe it or not. Had a little bit of a citrusy flavor to it, like a lemon almost. Yeah, it has a slight citrusy flavor. That's what's left. Not many seeds, I'm saving those. There is heat on it. The heat is relatively pretty low. Right now, I probably wouldn't put it past between 500 and 800 on a Scoville scale. Not really hot. It's a very slow, even burn across the side of the tongue where I chewed it on the side of my mouth. Nice, even, slow, calm, soothing burn. It's not pounding, not anything like that. It's nice and even. Very subtle. Very easy to eat. You could definitely eat these all day long without getting an upset stomach or too much heat for you or anything like that. It's very easy to eat, and if you cook with this or you put it in salads, you're not even really going to notice it. Though I will say when I swallowed it, it was a little bit warm in the stomach. Left a warm spot, but not. I didn't get sick or anything. No stomach heaves or cramps or anything like that. Nothing like that. It's just a warm feeling. It was like a little warm. It's not a spicy pepper, meaning it's I'm going to keep tasting it over and over. So it kind of a very mild, even heat. Nothing too crazy about it. But that lemony flavor it had was a little bit strange for a pepper. I mean, it's not completely unusual. I mean, I have had peppers in the past that were citrusy like that in flavor. Actually tastes a little bit like a lime or a lemon or something. But this one kind of has that a little bit in it. but it also has like a fruity type of a sweetness. Very nice fruity sweetness. I'm a very big fan of the Penecs. The red ones are very fruity. I really like the regular Penec. And this one, again, is very similar. Has, again, that very low, even, warm, calm kind of a burn. It's really a pepper, a family-friendly pepper. Anybody could eat this thing. I don't know. That's it. That's really all I could say about the Aji Penec. And whatever information I can find about the Penec itself, I'll kind of put it in the description. As of right now, there's really nothing out there. It doesn't have really a history on it because it was a cross that somebody put out there, and that's basically all it has. And I'm just picking up the torch from here and carrying it, and I'm bringing it along with the yellow version of it. So, all right, so that's it. That was your pod review for the Aji Yellow Penec. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.